This is Undaunted.Life, a man's podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Let's get into it. As I live and breathe, is that MARKWAYNE MULLIN right there? MARKWAYNE. I've been getting a lot of emails from concerned fans wondering what in the world, what happened between you and I. What was the falling out? You haven't been here in a while.
Well, you know, when you made it real awkward that time you put your hand on my leg, I was like, maybe we should have a little distance between us.
Oh, no. But like, you got to give the rest of the story. I was shooting a double leg takedown, you see. Yeah. So I was shooting the double leg takedown. It's different.
But you didn't finish the shot. You stopped in the shot, and that's just weird. I mean, you just got to me and pivoted, and I just like, that's just weird. I thought it was. I took it like you were flirting with me, and I get it, right? No. I mean, you got a man crush on me anyways.
No. This is what it was. Do you know how, like, whenever, Vladimir Putin, like, plays hockey, and, like, he suddenly scores, like, 8 or 9 goals, he's, like, the greatest hockey player ever? It was kind of like one of those things. Like, I didn't want to take you down in front of your friends. I didn't want it to be awkward. So it was more so out of respect. You know what I mean?
Why was it when you shot onto me, you started rubbing my glutes back and forth?
That's what I was taught to do. That's what I was taught. You rub the glutes, they fall right over. Come on. Everyone knows that. That's what you get taught in like juniors, right?
No, I taught my kids to turn the corner. But whatever. I mean, maybe your coach was different. Maybe, you should see a therapist about that.
You know what? Let's just turn the corner on this conversation because we don't have very long because you got like this very important job or whatever. But let's stay in the world of wrestling because I got to tell you, we got to go back to the national finals. Okay, so there you are. You're sitting front row. You're there with Donald J. Trump, who wanted to be there. And so he gets there. He gets the big introduction and all that. And he was supposed to be whisked away before the last match, but he sticks around for the heavyweight final when the great and mighty Gable Steveson, Olympic champion, gets taken down by an OSU cowboy, Wyatt Hendrickson. And Trump's right there in the front row, gives him a nice big salute. Wyatt gets off stage, gives him a handshake, gives you a big hug and all the different things. Just tell me about what that was like, because for me, I'm sitting on the back porch. Like, I stood up so fast, MARKWAYNE, both of my Crocs flew off, and I pulled a stomach muscle whenever he like finished the takedown, and I'm like sitting there like, 13, 12, 11, and I'm just like, okay, Gable's definitely going to get up. He's definitely going to get up. This is going to OT, and then he just tilted him over and put him back down. Just tell me about how all that was.
So backstory, you got to go back all the way to 2023 to when President Trump came to Tulsa with me to the national finals. And Wyatt took third at the national finals. Now, I've known Wyatt for a while. I've known of him and his family just because, I coached so many of the national teams, Oklahoma national teams, with my boys, when my boys were on it throughout the years. I mean, when they were little to middle school up. Well, Wyatt was 3 years older, or is 3 years older than the boys, and he would be on the Kansas national teams. And I mean, he's always been a bigger than life human being, but everybody's loved him. I mean, he was that heavyweight that wrestled on everybody on Kansas's team that everybody wanted to pick up because, I mean, he was just a stud. So 2023, he gets third. I recognize him. I'm with the president. We're sitting at the BOK. He comes up. He says, "Hey, can I say hi to the president?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Mr. President," I said, "This is Wyatt Hendrickson. He wrestles for the Air Force Academy. He got third." He wanted to say hi. And the first thing he did is he said, "Sir, I got a question to ask you." And the president goes, "Yeah, what is it?" He goes, "I need a waiver because they say that I can't fly fighter jets." And he looked at him and he looked at me and he said, "Son, they don't make cockpits that big." So there's a little bit of connection there. Now, fast forward to 2024, the president was supposed to leave right after actually 185, 187. What is the weight? Anyways, he was supposed to leave, and his team came to him, and he looked at me and he says, "Hey, can my big guy win?" And he was talking to Wyatt about Wyatt, and I said, "I think he can." He goes, he knew who Gable Steveson was. He said, "Olympic champion, 2-time national champion. You really think Wyatt has a chance to win?" I said, "Sir, I think Wyatt is a little more hungry than Gable is at this point." I said, "I think he can." I said, "Both of them are undefeated, and this is the match." And he looked at his team and said, "We're staying," because they wanted to get him out before the crowd, right? They didn't want him to disrupt the crowd. So when the match started, I mean, we were all very anticipating it. I mean, we were excited about it. And then when Wyatt took him down, even the president got excited. I mean, we all got excited, right? But it was interesting, just observation. You and I wrestlers, all of our wrestling fans, it was interesting because all of us expected Gabe to just stand right back up, pop up, right?
Right.
I think Gabe thought he was down by 2, not down by 1.
He definitely froze. It was weird.
Yeah, he sat there, and it was, Gabe's too good of a wrestler to be shell shocked. He's a reaction. He reacts just like everybody else. The reason why I had never been taken down is because the guy reacts quick. He's been. It's not that he hasn't been close to being taken down, but so I assumed that he had that he probably thought he was down by 2, because if you look, I don't know if the TV showed it. I was looking at his corner, and his corner was sitting there like this. You're down by 1. You're down by 1. You're down by 1. As soon as he said he was down by 1, Gabe stood up. So afterwards, talking to Wyatt, because Wyatt lived with my boys when he first came to Stillwater, because I got 2 boys that wrestle on Oklahoma State team too. And Wyatt, it was unique because there hadn't been anybody out of the academy that's asked for their 5th year senior. So the 5th year senior, the academy's never dealt with for COVID. And so Wyatt's the first one to ask it. There is no orders for that. So we had to work with the Secretary of Air Force to draw up orders that have never been drawn up before to allow Wyatt to be able to wrestle for Oklahoma State in the WCAP program. And then we had to get Oklahoma State qualified to be a WCAP program, which is a world athlete program. At the same time, Wyatt had to sign up for a master's program so he can get his master's while he's wrestling there for the next 4 years. So his orders are to wrestle for Oklahoma State, working towards the World Athlete Program, which he just won, U.S. Open this weekend, and that and then he's got to get his master's while he's there. So I was talking to Wyatt afterwards, and I said, Wyatt, what went through your head after you took him down? He says, I knew I could take him down. I knew if I ever got hold of that leg, I could pull it into me and pull around the corner, which he's done that move 100 times throughout the year. And I said, what'd you think when he took him down? He says, my arms never felt so strong in my life. There was no way Gable was getting out of him. No way. He said, no way. He said, you would have had to literally tear my arms off from my shoulders. He said, I've never squeezed a human being so much in my life. So maybe it was the squeeze, and he felt how strong Wyatt was that made him freeze. Who knows? But I asked him, I said, what did Gable say to you when you walked on the mat? Now, what a lot of people don't know about Wyatt is Wyatt's a strong Christian man, very strong Christian man. And he says, I don't know. He says, maybe the Lord just, shut my ears. His words was, maybe the Holy Spirit shut my ears, because I didn't hear anything he said. He said, I remember him saying something, but I'm not even sure I would have remembered it. People didn't ask me immediately what he said. He said, but I think he said something to the effect that I'm the Olympic champion. You're not worthy to wear the flag. He says, and I think he said, but I don't know he said that. He says, that's what I think I heard. Yep. He said, but I didn't even think about it until people asked me. He says, and it's a good thing that I didn't. He says, because that probably would have got under my skin. I mean, here, he's a second lieutenant, right? Right. But I also know Gable. I don't know if Gable would have said that either. And that's what I told Wyatt. I said, I don't know if Gable is, he's for show, but he's also a heck of an athlete with a tremendous amount of respect. And you saw the way he handled himself after the match. You saw the way he handled it on the podium. You saw the way he treated the president. I don't think Gable would have said that unless it was trying to get underneath his head, but not actually meaning it. And Wyatt said the same thing. Wyatt says, I don't know if he actually said that. He says, I'm just trying to replay it. He said, I'm telling you, Markwayne, I think the Holy Spirit shut my ears because I actually do not know what he said.
Well, and you could see as they have that slight interaction, it was almost like Wyatt was so in the zone as he was walking. It was almost like who's talking to me? Like he knew it was Gable and all that, but you got the smoke and the big entrance and all those types of things. But on that. So obviously Gable not been taken down all year, Olympic champion, the whole thing.
I don't think Gable, I don't believe it had ever been taken down.
It definitely not this year for sure. And
but I didn't think he had ever been taken down in his collegiate history.
When I was thinking, okay, he's been training with Gordon Ryan, the greatest jiu-jitsu fighter of all time.
I'm going to have my team. Can we Google that Gable Steveson, see if he'd been taken down?
let's get it live. But he's been training with Gordon Ryan, best jiu-jitsu fighter of all time. John Jones, best MMA fighter of all time, even though he's juiced. And I'm wondering, have those guys taken him down? And so he gets the takedown. But then when he stands up, I immediately think, certainly he's not going to be tilted back over. And that's precisely what happened. Gable tried to like turn around and like face him, and he literally just got folded. And I'm like, holy cow, like I can't believe he just got folded. And he had those precious few seconds there where he kind of was like kind of stuck, like figuring out what am I going to do, and then stood up, and it just didn't quite work out for him. So I appreciate you giving us the behind the scenes look on that. Hopefully your team will get the information in the next 6 minutes, because you got a hard out. So I want to ask you kind of like a flyover question. Wait, do they got the answer? Has he ever been taken down?
It's first time been taken down in collegiate history with Wyatt. That's what they.
Man, absolutely amazing. Wyatt Hendrickson, superstar. Would love to get him on the show. We'll see if we can work that out.
Well, we might be able to connect you to, but he. Everybody's been saying this is the greatest upset in NCAA history. I will respectfully disagree. 1970, Dan Gable, when he lost his last match in the national finals, I believe that is the greatest history. And what people say about the reason why it was the greatest upset was because. A two-time national champion,
Olympic champion.
And I was like, well, but do you not know Dan Gable's? I mean, who he is, and to lose his last match and be undefeated his entire wrestling career, that's the biggest upset. Now, biggest upset in my lifetime is Wyatt and Gable Steveson, but I think the biggest upset in NCAA history for wrestling was Dan Gable's loss.
Hey guys, real quick. I know a lot of you guys struggle with getting a consistent workout routine. So wherever you get to, whether that's the Globo gym or your home gym or even like a parking lot somewhere, you get there and then you don't know what to do. You get there and you're just like, well, what in the world am I supposed to do today? And you just kind of meander around, and maybe you're trying to get ready for like a mountain hunt in the fall, or you've got a mud race coming up, or you just want to be generally a strong and fit dude for normal everyday life, but you don't have a program that's tailored for you. I want you guys to stop wasting time at the gym or wherever you're working out and just settling for that same old routine that you've always done. It's time for you to get a guide that will help you reach your fitness goals. And that's why I want to introduce you to my friends over at Mountain Tough. Mountain Tough is a fitness and mental toughness app developed by military special operators and mountain hunters that's becoming a global movement for building mentally tough athletes on and off the mountain. So Mountain Tough is a native app ready to be downloaded on all platforms. So that includes iPhone, Android, Apple TV, and Roku. Once you sign up and download the app or access the website, you immediately have access to literally hundreds of exercise programs and thousands of workout videos. Thousands, okay? That includes structured hybrid strength and endurance programs, daily workouts, the full exercise library, mental toughness training, prehab and rehab, the Mountain Tough community and accountability, and a bunch of other stuff. And guys, you can use it all on the go, online or offline, no matter where you decide to train. Just getting started? No problem. They've got programs for beginners. Have minimal gear or no gear? All good. They have minimal gear and bodyweight programs. Wanting to get into or maintain elite level fitness like me? They've got you covered with programs for top tier athletes too. And guys, for a limited time, Mountain Tough is extending Undaunted Lifers like you an incredible offer. Go to mountaintough.com. That's MTNtough.com and enter the code Kyle when you sign up for a monthly plan to receive your first month free after your 14-day free trial. So for guys that aren't good at math, that is 6 weeks free to make sure this app is for you, and I'm sure it will be. That is 6 weeks free on the best-in-class physical and mental training app in the world. Stop wasting time. It's time to get real fitness results and let my friends at Mountain Tough guide the way. Again, go to MTN Tough. That's mountaintough.com, promo code Kyle. Well, and certainly I know we got a lot of 2025 left to go. That's the sports moment of 2025. I don't care if there's a walk-off in the World Series or, something that's going to happen in college football. That's the moment of the year in sports for me. But in our last 5 minutes here, there's a lot that's been made about Trump's first 100 days. And so this is going to be coming out, 120-ish days or whatever into the Trump administration, the second Trump administration. There's been a lot of executive orders, a stunning, shocking amount of executive orders. A lot of headlines have been made about the executive orders. But as with the executive orders that Biden made, if it doesn't turn into legislation, then it doesn't ultimately matter. It matters for a short period of time. And then if somebody else gets into the office that's wearing a blue tie, boom, all the executive orders go out the window. And so it seems like, okay, now it's time for Congress to solidify some of these executive orders, some of the more important ones, and get some legislation behind them. So as a sitting United States Senator with a lot of connections still back to your old job in the House, what is the likelihood that in short order, or maybe if we can look at 2025, that we'll start to see some legislation solidify some of the things we see coming out of the executive orders?
Well, we've already solidified actually a lot of them. Believe it or not, it just isn't a big fanfare. Keep in mind, the president has signed just over 140 executive orders. Well over half of those was reversing Biden's executive orders that overturned Trump's executive orders from when he came into office in 2017. So there's really only about, I don't know the exact number. I'm using rough numbers here, but I think when I looked at it, it was under 70 executive orders are actually new executive orders. These aren't, meaning that these things have already been in place before. If you do the math on that, and you realize that these are new, these are that over half of them were previous executive orders that Biden overturned and that he overturned. So they've already been put in place. And then you put in the fact that under 70 of them are new executive orders. If you do the math on this, I just want to, that is below, the new executive orders are actually below what Biden did when he was in his first 100 days. To just get some numbers on this, injunctions where the court has stepped in underneath Biden or underneath Obama in 8 years of office and a lot more than 140 executive orders, the court stepped in 12 times and put in injunctions. Biden, in 4 years while he was in office, they only stepped in 14 times. And he signed a lot more than 140 executive orders over 4 years. Trump, in his first 4 years, the court stepped in 64 times. Already this year, in the first 100 days, the court has put in 15 injunctions against the president. Now, actually, I think that number just went to 16. And so why we're doing this, we're having to codify these in legislation because we're literally fighting a weaponized court at this point against President Trump. And numbers speak for themselves. People can say whatever they want, but there's no question that the court is weaponized against President Trump. I don't care. Right. I don't care what you say. They have stepped in, taken it upon themselves, and stepped in and put injunctions. And the numbers aren't even comparable at the percentage of the executive orders versus comparable to the injunctions. And people want to say, well, but that's different because the executive orders underneath Biden and underneath Obama wasn't legislating from the White House. I beg to differ.
Sure.
Obama actually coined the phrase, I call upon Congress to act. If not, I got a pen and piece of paper. So don't tell me that Obama wasn't legislating from the White House. And so when we look forward to how we're going to fix it, we can do a lot of it through reconciliation. We can do a lot of it through FY26 appropriation bills, and we can do a lot of it through rescission. And the rescission packages are just now starting to come to Congress. And what rescission packages are is basically funding that Congress didn't directly fund a program. The president can look at it and send it to Congress and say, we're not going to just defund it. We are now going to say we're defunding it. Plus, we're going to make it unlawful for another agency or another administration to come and fund it through an executive order. It means it would have to be passed in law to overturn it again. So rescission, a lot of its stuff is going to be taking place, but we're codifying stuff almost every day. And for instance, the CRAs, the Congressional Review Act, which you're going to be hearing a lot about the next 2 weeks, it gives us a 60-day look back. And the 60-day look back isn't calendar 60 days. It's 60 days that the House and Senate are both in session. Okay, so that it's not 60 calendar days. It's when both House and the Senate are in session. That time frame actually runs out next week, at the end of next week. So we only have 2 more weeks to do a Congressional Review Act that looks back at the rules and executive orders that the president, the outgoing administration, put in place. And so we are the CRAs, every one of the CRAs we passed, and you go back and look at how many we passed, you'll notice that the president has had executive orders to overturn a lot of this rule anyways, but we're codifying it through the CRA, saying that it's unlawful for the agency, whatever it is, to be able to go back and even reinstate it through a rule. It would take legislation again to bring it back in place.
Okay, well, I appreciate you giving us an update on that. You're 1 minute past your hard out, so I'm going to let you get out of here. Anything else for our audience before we let you bounce?
No, just know that you can't take me down, ever.
You see,
Not
the
happening.
can't thing, I mean, are we even in the same weight class? I mean, you were looking a little small last time I saw you.
Ouch. It doesn't matter if you wrestled at Wyatt's weight and I wrestled at 133, you still couldn't take me down.
MARKWAYNE, how much you weigh right now? How much you weigh right now? Just tell me, what do you weigh right now?
Yesterday morning, I weighed 185.2.
We're in the exact same weight class, and I just got to tell you, I feel like we need to figure this out. I feel like we just need to get a mat and figure it out.
47, and I'm not old enough that you think you can possibly take me down. It's just
I won't even, and I'll do a jiu-jitsu style. I won't even wear shoes, so I don't even get any of that extra grippy. And then if I take your back, I'm just saying.
First of all, you're not taking my back. Second of all, zero chance you can take me down. It's just not happening.
Hey, you heard it here first, guys. He said 0% chance. I cannot wait to prove him wrong. MARKWAYNE, we'll talk again soon.
See ya. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a positive 5-star review. If you want me to come speak live at your event or on your podcast, just shoot me an email to info@Undaunted.Life. That's info@Undaunted.Life. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook, and check out our website for everything else, including how to donate to keep more content like this coming your way. Just go to www.Undaunted.Life. And as always, we want to thank the band Holy Name for allowing us to use their music for our content. The music on this podcast is their song Perpetua, which is off their self-titled debut album on Face Down Records. The links are in the description. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Remember, keep pushing back darkness, keep forging spiritual, mental, and physical resilience, keep seeking the Lion of Judah.